back again for another video. So in this video, I decided that I could go over a few things. We had a few conversations, and I thought it would be very important for her to give her point of view on things, as she is an integral part of my life, and she does play a role in it. So she has some experiences that we talked about, and some I guess you can say epiphanies that she came to in regards to dealing with a man such as myself. So that's what the topic is going to be about mostly. It's going to be random topics, nothing in particular, but it's just her perspective on her dealing with a dominant, her dealing with a masculine man, her views on life as a woman in this type of environment. So say hello.
Hello.
So I guess I want to start it off with asking you about how have you seen men growing up, your teenage years, some of your relationships? How have you seen men? Like, how have they been to you?
So I don't think I really paid too much attention to the men like that, just because I had just my brothers. Mm-hmm. So I guess I based them off of them, what type of men that they were, and I guess the type of man that my father was. Mm-hmm. But I really never paid too much attention to them. I was always, trying to focus on myself and a woman and what my roles were, mm-hmm. versus what a male roles were. Like, I wasn't worried about the man's role, mm-hmm. at that point. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
But I know that I did have ideas of what a relationship was, and then, or what it's supposed to be like. But even when, like, it was just like that, it still didn't feel right. Okay. So as far as a role of a man, it didn't kind of make sense until I met you. Mm-hmm. And it was just like, oh, that's why. Mm-hmm. And okay. And it's, I don't know, very, like, I love it because it's confirmation that I pretty much was on the right track. Mm-hmm. I still lived my life and experienced what I experienced, but it got me to here, mm-hmm. where I'm able to now recognize what a man is really supposed to be, moving forward.
So you mentioned something, and of course that's one of the things we're going to go over, that you never really wanted to have kids.
No.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, no.
Yeah. No.
No. Like, I used to joke, like, if I wanted kids, I wanted 10. Yeah. 2 basketball teams. But I never was that kind of girl that would dream of a white picket fence, or I even dreamed of getting married. I wasn't that kind of girl. Mm-hmm. So as far as having kids, never been with a man that, I have the urge to want to give them a child. I guess a pregnancy scare kind of put it into perspective for me, as far as, like, if I don't want to give this man a baby, why am I laying down with him? Mm-hmm. Like, that's when I was just like, oh, heck no. Like, no. Okay. Like, it made, like, sense for me, and that's why I've been kind of, like, very selective. Mm-hmm. Just because, yeah, but like I said, like, now it makes sense. Mm-hmm. And then being with you, and I'm like, oh, I want babies now. Like, I want 20 babies now. So 4 basketball teams. But
so what would you describe, like, the men that you've dated in the past, the men that you've been with in the past, would you describe them as being men who could protect?
So I feel like protection has many feels to it. Mm-hmm. As far as, like, security, like financial, like, mm-hmm. All that. But that was never, and I never really thought about that until now. Like, now I'm just like, oh, makes sense. Mm-hmm. The other men that I've been with, as far as, I don't know, it's weird because, like, you were the only person who asked for one thing, that I wasn't giving to them. Does that make sense? Like, all they wanted was my submission, and I was not giving it. Like, like I held like, no, I'm not. And that's probably why it didn't work out. But they was asking for way too much. And plus my submission.
Why do you say they were asking for too much? Like, what does that mean?
I don't know, because like I guess they didn't have a contract. You know, so it was just like, wait, what's going on?
No purpose. Pretty much.
Pretty much. Okay. And then as far as submission, I have always said, like, why would I submit to somebody who's not leading me to a place I've been trying to go to my whole life? I feel like that's why women say, oh, this man is for me, and, you know, or, you know, they lay down with the man because they agree with what they're offering, but sometimes it's like what you're looking for is not even the right thing you're looking for. Okay. So very selective.
Well, what do you mean by not taking you a place you want to be? So I would take it that you and other women have a sight in mind of where you want to be at some point in your life.
Exactly.
And you look for a man who can take you there, right?
Or who can assist.
Yeah.
Who can assist, not distract you, not, you know, try to swing you over to their side. None of that. Like, you guys are in agreement of what is the main goal and what is the purpose.
See, and that goes in line with what I've said before, that usually a woman likes a man who represents a part of her that she wants that she doesn't have. Meaning, like, if, like, for instance, an artist, someone who can draw really well, a good cartoonist, you know, the woman who would like a cartoonist is one who's an aspiring cartoonist herself, or who loves animation, who loves these types of things, but doesn't readily create those things for herself. So she draws to men who are the creators of those things because she wants to learn more. She wants to become more like that man. That's what I've always said. And that makes sense to me for you to say that. Yeah. So as far as how you see men, how do you see men differently now versus then?
I see them in a better light as far as, like, now I can call them what they really are. You know, I have brothers, so I never try to, you know, put a man in a situation that I wouldn't want nobody putting my brother in a situation. So acting accordingly, you know, until whatnot. But now I'm able to really call them out. Even like my own family, I'm just like, okay. You know, like, makes sense. Now it just makes sense. Versus now, you ruined. You ruined me. You ruined me. Like, all the way around, it's an honor, you know, that I was able to have my first experience with someone who was actually knowledgeable and, I don't know, there, you know, to really help me understand. Because I kind of feel like I've been looking for this my whole life.
I think most women have.
I think so too. I just think it's they're not wanting to accept it. It's the reality thing or the fantasy thing. Like, because now that I think about it, you know, it's like, okay, this is the truth. The red pill is the truth, right? But now they're coming up with, okay, well, now just use these crystals, girls. Like, put men in a jar. And I'm just like, that's crazy. Like, why do they keep distracting it away from what it really is? Like, no. You have to focus on, you know, what really is what you're searching for, because a lot of what women are searching for is fantasy, and they're not gonna get that. Not with a man who is going to take them to the right place, you know. Or I get there's men that will take them there, but there's nothing there. There's no there's like no fulfillment. There's no something. So.
And that's what I tend to look at. You know, I tend to be the one who leans towards the rationality. Of course, you know, I say, you know, there's all those things that you have in your head are a dead end if you're not trying to work on manifesting them in real life. You know, if you're not trying to say to yourself, how can I accomplish this? You know, how can I put things in my life to do this? then you're not trying to accomplish those goals you have in your head. But then what will happen is you will see that some things are purely unrealistic if you try to practically do them. You know, and I think that's what women run into. They chase this fantasy and they get a glimpse of something that's close to the fantasy, and they see how impractical that is. But men, we've been telling women for the longest time, that doesn't make sense, because we have the ability to actually play out all these scenarios in our head and be like, no, that's not going to pan out the way you think, because we account for the impracticability of those fantasies. Whereas women, they don't. They get caught up emotionally and they get drugged right into it, and then they get to the end of the road and they're like, oh, there's no gold here. They chase that rainbow and there's nothing at the end of it. And they look up and they're 45, no kids. They look up.
Don't say that.
No, I'm just saying, they look up, and I'm talking about for the women who were stuck on a fantasy. You know what I'm saying? They don't have any, when they come out of that fantasy, they don't have any ability to actually make change, because time keeps moving regardless of how stuck you are in that fantasy. And a lot of women, they come out of that fantasy once the reality starts to set in, and they look back at their life and they're like, oh, well, I missed every opportunity.
But see, I keep telling you, even with me, I never heard of any of this until I was 31. Mm-hmm. And then here I am. And so it's I know for a fact, this knowledge, this type of, it's really not out there. Yeah. It's really not out there. Yeah. It's not, there's not, it's all about advertising or getting out there, really, and then you get these fake people out there and they're like, no, that's not really, but here I feel like they can just be like, well, swing it over here. This is what you're really supposed to be.
Well, that's the reason why we're making this video, so that we can so that we can spread this knowledge, and so that you can give an account. I mean, because how old are you? 33. And when did you get introduced to this knowledge? 31. Exactly. So you've only had 2 years experience of it, and you already seen a manifesting change in your life by meeting someone who is able to give you the knowledge that enlightens you to what the reality really is.
Definitely. And it has been definitely, it's not easy. It's not easy because, because you don't want to let go of the fantasy. You don't want to let go of, what you had planned out, because sometimes it's well, I've been wanting this forever. And then sometimes it's well, you just gotta let it go because this is something better. And it has been better. I haven't, and it's real. It's not, it's constant as well. Yeah. So I think that's where it's just remembering that, I still have what I want, or, in certain ways, but as far as having it 100% my way, no. I have to let go. Yeah.
And I think that's what the women get caught up on. They looking for the 100%, and there's no such thing. There's no such thing as things happening exactly the way you thought. And the good part about it is that if you meet the right man, it'll be better than what you imagined it would be.
That's why I don't like to expect anything.
Exactly.
Then it's
I think there should be some minimum expectations. You shouldn't expect someone to be disrespectful. You shouldn't expect someone to lie to you. I think there should be minimum expectations, but when it comes to the personality traits,
when it's a healthy relationship, then that's not even a factor.
Exactly.
But I don't know. I'm just I'm enjoying it still. I'm still infatuated. It just turned down a little. But 93% now. But I'm still infatuated. I'm still happy as far as knowing that I'm able to be in a safe place to fix what's really wrong with me, because I really nobody is perfect. Nobody is perfect. Even the toughest guru, the toughest person out there, the most disciplined person out there will tell you they still have things that they want to improve on. No, definitely.
They'll always tell you that, because if they don't, they're probably not the person you should listen to anyway, because they can't admit the truth to themselves, so now they're going to tell you the truth. But as far as how you see men moving forward.
To be honest with you, I feel like the 80s, like that was like the last of a dying breed. So I feel like the men that are in their 80s, maybe even a little bit in the 90s, because men are slower. Last of a dying breed. Like I feel like now is definitely the time to take a hold of any young man around you, and just really, because there's not a lot of father figures out there. Like I said, like my brother, like I look at it because my little brother, he actually followed my older brother's footsteps. My older brother got married, and he did it the right way. Like they were together for 19 years, and then they got married, and then had a baby. And then my brother like looked at him like a father figure, and I tried to tell my brother that, because right after he did all that, he got married and had a baby. And I'm just like, you don't even know this chick. I'm like, you don't even know this chick. Like, what is going on? So they're watching for sure, because they're looking for something to grab onto. I think we're all looking for a right way to grab onto.
And that's actually what the video that's coming, that's before this video, that's actually what I explained. That men, because I went over. I did. I went over. I know, but it's up there. You could see it, but it's called it's the intermediary portion of masculinity. It's where it's able to create just a little bit of principality for itself, but it largely has adopted principalities from other higher masculinities than itself, and that's exactly what you're explaining.
I've seen it. Like I see it. I don't know. I think it is possible. I think everything is possible for sure to get on the right track. But as far as the women, you gotta slap them.
Oh yeah. We have this running thing. I told her, I was like, I probably should have slapped you when I first met you, because that way you can't complain that I don't treat you the way I used to. She laughs every single time. It's funny. I've never done anything like that, but it's it's
that's
just
because
joke.
Like to want your love is to want your discipline for sure. Like I'm definitely trying to work on bettering myself and being that person I'm supposed to be, fully, not halfway, but fully. And that takes a lot of time, and I appreciate the help that I'm getting and guidance. And then,
like I said, you don't give up. I'm not going to give up. That's just the way it is.
No, I'm not giving up because I want this. It's for me. It's for. If it's possible. You know what I mean? It's possible.
And I'm not perfect myself by any means. I'm quick to admit my fault and say, oh yeah, well, I guess I was wrong on that. And I take it on the chin. That's exactly what this was. I can't tell you or expect you to admit your fault and take your discipline if I'm not willing to do the same thing when I'm wrong. And I try to move in a way that is an example and also a teachable moment, so that you can learn how to conduct yourself. Because it's very different for a woman, but the principles come the same. It's no different than the setup of how it's supposed to be. The men create the principles, and it flushes down to the women, and they give it to the children.
So then I would say the difference, of my past relationship would pretty much be that they wanted the authority but not the responsibility. And I think that's where I definitely was like, well, why would I submit? Why am I giving you my fruit? And it's like, I'm not really getting any help with
leadership.
So that's a huge difference. And like I said, I'm ruined because I don't think there will be another. Well, I'm getting older, and I don't think there will be another man that would really look at me and be like, "Oh yeah, I can find purpose in you." Just because everybody's purpose for why they choose who they choose is different. So,
well, and that's another thing. I don't want to give you a unrealistic expectation on either side to say that you will never ever meet a man that's better than me. That's not realistic. That's not realistic. And the reason why I say that's not realistic, because it doesn't account for the probabilities, because there is a probability. It's just that it's really low. It's really low, but there's a chance. But that's the thing. I'm going to tell you the more realistic thing. And the realistic thing is that there are not a lot of men like me. There are not a lot of men who have a good level of discipline and knowledge and intelligence and leadership, all these skills wrapped into one. That's the reason why I'm out here doing the videos, because, I understand that there's a niche for the knowledge that isn't there, interpreted in the way that I can. I understand that that's not the case. So if I know that, then I'm going to tell you the bigger truth of it. The bigger truth of it is going to be hard to find another man like that, because they're not in abundance.
Well, I haven't found one in 31 years. So, and I traveled, so I that's why I jumped on board as fast, because I know that what I was looking for was pretty much what you was offering. Mm-hmm. And it was crazy because we had the conversation, we text, and then I was like, no, we gotta call you. I gotta talk to you real fast, because pretty much my path in life has always been that whatever I'm looking for, I'm going to receive, because I'm really looking for it. Yeah. And here you came, and I was like, okay.
Off we go.
And it's very humbling.
Yeah.
It's very humbling. Okay.
Well, I guess you're ruined then. Huh?
I'm ruined.
In what way are you ruined?
That when I look at another man, I would never look at the fame again. Mm-hmm. Like, it would definitely be, and it's not even mean like judging or whatnot, but it's just that I know that I will never look into a crowd and see protection. Fully, like a fully armored man who can protect me, because I already have that. And we good with that armor. At this point, you ruined me. Like, I couldn't. like people can, like, one word and be like, hey mom, like, oh, you called me mom. Like, before I'd be like, forgiving, but now it's just like, no, shut down, bye. Like, can't talk to me no more until you get my name right.
Yeah. And they'll never know your name until you tell it. And then even though you tell it to them, they will never say it right.
Exactly.
That's the key.
No, I don't. I guess my hypergamy. They never knew about that either. Yeah. But my hypergamy is gone.
Yeah,
it's gone. It's asleep.
Yeah.
The ice age.
And I think that has something to do with a lot of people think that these things are separate, but they're not. They're very causation. Some correlative, but they're very causation in their relationship. Because I believe that the higher a man's masculinity is and how he presents that to a woman who desires high masculinity, it'll inversely affect her hypergamy, which is both based on natures. You see what I'm saying? If you have a high masculinity man who's outputting everything or a lot of the things that you desire in a woman in a masculine man, then that's going to decrease the negative sides, or the reason why your other side of your femininity would say that you need to monkey branch to another man, because you already have what you're looking for. So it's a fulfillment. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's
satisfaction.
Yeah,
yeah.
And it kills off hypergamy. Like you said, you don't think about if there's another man out there. We never even had that conversation, to be honest with you.
Well,
now that I think about it, because
you ruined me.
No. I'm talking about. I've never asked you if do you believe that there is another man in your life, or that you can obtain that's better than me. I've never really asked you that.
No.
You know what I'm saying? I'm just thinking about that. I've never asked you that.
No.
Well, that's what
I'm saying.
At
this point, like, realistically, time will tell, obviously. But at this point, no, I don't. But I've never. I know what I was looking for. At the end of the day, I'm comfortable now. I'm comfortable. I'm overly comfortable. I'm under comfortable. I don't know. Like, all the way comfortable. That. Do I know? I haven't met him. I haven't met him.
Yeah.
But I know the path that I'm on now wouldn't even put me in a place to even look at somebody like that. Yeah. Like I said, like I have all that I need in you.
And you know, it's not like she don't go anywhere. You go plenty of places by yourself. I'm just like, yeah, go ahead. And it's so funny because she says all the time, I just can't leave. And I'm like, why not? And she's like, because, you know, I don't want to be without you, you know, and I understand that, you know, I totally understand that. And that's totally fine. You know, I'm not like, you know, I'm not like, what's wrong with you? You're weird, you know, nothing like that. I understand.
No, that's like, we can say that's kind of a little unhealthy, though.
Why do you say that?
Because
it works for us. So
it does work for us.
You know, it doesn't create a toxic situation where I don't think so, unless you feel like.
No, because then I'll be like, dang, I wish I really went. And then I'm just like, why didn't he just come? You know, like that kind of.
Yeah.
But it's.
I was thinking about yesterday when we went to Denver. I wanted to go to a park down there. They have a really nice park that we should probably go for a walk in. It's got a lot of Pokestops there too. We haven't played in a while, but you know, well, I think that'll be nice to do. Just a side note, anyway. But anyway, yeah, you know, a lot of places that you want to go is just like really downtown. It's like 15 minutes away. It's not even that far. And she's like, oh,
I'm just so comfortable with you, like you. And that's weird because like I never had that too with another man, like of going out in public and sometimes I don't want to say it, you know. I don't. That's kind of like
it's okay. I don't look at it that way.
I know, but it was like kind of like I was. I don't want to say it because it's kind of like disrespectful, but as far as like there was definitely no protection. Like you can tell that there was. Like if a man came over here trying to hit on me and he saw it, he would be like, turn a blind eye or something. Kind of, you know, like there would be no, I don't know. So that's why it would be weird because it would just be like, no, like I'm yours. Like, don't you feel the disrespect?
Yeah.
Because I feel disrespected.
I'm
like I don't like men touching me. Like don't touch me at all. But for you know, and then it just makes it weird. Then it's like I have to rely on you to protect me, but I see that you not trying to protect me, so then I gotta be all
masculine.
Exactly, and that's where here I am, and it's like I have to let that go because I don't need to do that no more.
And you know, that's what you're explaining is the feminine talking to the masculine.
Yeah,
because it's saying to the masculine, you need to do something, or what can you do? This something needs to happen, and then the masculine does not give the right response. That's when women get turned off automatically. Yep, that's exactly what happened.
My coworker, and that happened. That's what's up. Like that definitely like turned me on.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate it because it was like, yes, you pretty much you protected me.
Yeah, with that guy.
Yeah.
And I was like, and you know, I can tell he had lesser masculinity because when I was talking to him, he's just shaking his head like, yeah, I was wrong. Yeah, you know, and I'm Joe Snow nobody to him, you know. Yeah. And he was like, "Oh yeah, you're right."
Because he's guilty.
I mean, even not guilty, but I mean, let's be honest. Like most dudes, they're very prideful in what they do. They're like, "Yeah, I did it, so what?" You know, blah blah blah. I understand that his job may have been on the line, but he kind of seemed like he didn't care anyway. You know what I'm saying? I think he was trying to be underhanded about it, but he seemed like he didn't really care. But when I talked to him, that's when he perked up real big. You know what I'm saying? Because remember the dude that owned the place, he talked to him and he was kind of like, oh no, you know what I'm saying? You see what I mean? Yeah. And then when I talked to him, he was standing straight at attention, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. You know? Yeah.
And then no, but when I talked to him, because it was the boss, me, and then you. Yeah. And then after you, the boss was like, that was really nice. I like how you said it. Well put. Yeah. I was just like, oh gosh, that was really a turn on for sure. But no, I never really had that, and I guess that's why I don't have kids. You know, because I never looked at a man that I was like, oh, you are worthy to have another child out here because you're gonna do right by this child. Yeah. You know, I don't think women even look at sex like that.
I don't think so either. I don't think so either.
They don't like pretty much. Let's say if you have to lay down with somebody, you better be understanding that you are capable of getting an STD, that is curable or not curable, or have their child. Like, if you're willing to take that risk with this one person, go for it. And then don't complain about it. You know, it's, make that child on your own.
You know, that goes back to the whole instant gratification thing.
Yeah.
You know, instant gratification doesn't account for consequence. It does not account for consequence. Nobody's worried about. People are more worried about the gratifying aspect of things than they are worried about the unintended or understandable consequences of those same things. Same thing.
Something else I have been learning about letting go of myself or instant gratification that I'm looking forward to long term. Pretty much.
Yeah.
That was easier, I would say. I think that was easy to let go just because I had
discipline. You got discipline already.
Yeah,
you
but it was nice because I was able to, you know, enjoy it with somebody.
Oh,
you know, like it wasn't like I just had to let go just because I was letting go. No, there was something put in place of it.
Yeah.
So
program,
different program in place of it.
Yeah, and I think that's part of the problem too, that men don't have a program for women, so they look at you like, why would I give this up? You know, what are you giving me in exchange for it that's better? And if you're not a good, it's hard to say, if you're not a good salesman of your program, nobody's going to buy it. Those ones, if you don't have nothing to sell, what are you expecting women to buy?
But you have to have buyers too.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you don't have anything to sell, what are you expecting the women to buy? Simply what I'm saying is, if you don't have your masculinity intact in the program for that woman, what are you expecting her to submit to? You know what I'm saying? And that's pretty much kind of what you do. I mean, it's real easy for me because I've never really had this problem like that. You know, I've run into a lot of knucklehead chicks, don't get me wrong, and they have been the problem because I had a program. I had my masculinity intact. It's just that they didn't want to get with the program, which is fine. But the problem was never that I had nothing to give them. It was never the question. You know what I'm saying? I've never had that problem. So, but anyway, we talk long enough. We can have offline, Kyle. We talk all the time.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I feel like you should cut some of this.
Why?
Because.
Oh, it's fine. It's fine. Nobody's going to be like, oh, what are you talking about? They enjoy. They enjoy hearing a woman perspective. I think even the women do. And I think it's very necessary because I want you to show sincerity because I'm sincere when I talk. Yeah, I'm sincere when I talk. So I think you should bask in the sincerity of what you have to say.
Long story short, it's a better life, and everything runs smoothly. Yeah, it does.
We run into problems, but we get over them very fast.
We do.
Yeah, and there's always a solution. I tell you, just walk with me. I got you.
No, like it's definitely worth working through. And I think people don't want to work on things. They just want to be like, oh, take me as I am. Yeah. And not be like, okay, I can fix some of this, you know, because I am the problem.
Well, that goes back to the whole instant gratification.
Yeah.
You know, because nobody, and then at the same time, when they run into problems, they quick to bounce, you know. And I'm like, no, that's not how you fix anything.
No, because you're just, constant in the variant.
But anyway, you got anything else to say?
Hopefully we'll have another video about what I am.
Okay, we can do that.
What I am.
Okay.
Because I had a social death a long time ago.
Yeah.
But it's reoccurring. Like I get them a lot. Because I get reminded that there is nowhere I belong.
Well, you got a place you belong.
Because now I do.
Yeah.
Now I do. Okay. But that's all I wanted to say.
All right.
So that'll be the next video.
All right, cool. We can do that. Yeah, we can do that. No problem. But anyway, I don't have any closing words. Like I said, I just want to have this conversation live with you guys. I mean, we have these conversations all the time. None of this stuff is scripted. We don't have any paper in front of us. You know, this is how we naturally talk. But if you guys have any questions or comments for either me or her, just leave them in the comment section and then we'll go from there. But until next time, this has been the Wolf and Beta Close. May you have a good day, and peace be with you.